Happy fucking Sunday. And welcome to the Fortean Slip. Episode 58? 59? I don't fucking know.
I don't think we got to 60 yet, so...
It's somewhere in there. I know. It's one of those weeks where I'm lost with the episode numbers. Because I didn't look prior to the show. This is the Someone Called John Titor. We have a new ancient piece of shit computer for him to pick up.
That's a long title.
It is. I'll shorten it up in post.
Okay.
In the wake of the computer from Antikythera, is that how we pronounce that? Fucking.
You're asking me.
That's a good point. But this, I guess they've redated this thing because they used to have it dated to like 85 to 50 BC, and now they're saying that this thing is like dated to 200 BC. This basically computer. It is a I don't know how I would describe it. It's like a clockwork computer. Is that how you describe it?
Analog. It would be like an analog computer.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. And it basically calculates the movements of the heavens.
And it can predict, like, future movements of the heavens and past movements of the heavens and things like that. You know, like stars and shit. Astral stuff. So in the wake of this interesting piece of equipment from ancient history, and Steve and I were talking about this before the show. I don't so much buy into the ancient aliens theory.
However, I do buy into the idea that an ancient civilization, be it human or whatever, rose and fell, and that we may be finding their leftover bullshit. Who knows? I don't know. Do you know? You know, Steve?
I don't know either. I don't know. I'm not sure the Antikythera.
I don't think fucking anybody knows.
No, but there are a lot of interesting artifacts that are found where they shouldn't be.
Right.
And this is one of them. You know, this one was found by Greek fishermen or something like that.
Sponge divers.
Near Crete. Yeah, sponge drivers. Sponge drivers.
That's right.
Sponge divers near Crete, and they, I guess, it was in a shipwreck, but it was out of place with everything else.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting piece of equipment, but you know, it goes back to the the idea of the Mayan calendar. You know,
right?
How did they have all that information? But the thing that one of the things that I wanted to bring up, which you kind of like pissed on,
I did
a little bit. You did. You pissed on it for me because you know I like I have these little mysteries and things that I enjoy, and I like them being mysteries, and then I have to fucking bring it up to you, and you fucking piss all over it. But is the crystal skull.
Oh, the crystal. I would never piss on a crystal skull.
No, you didn't piss on the crystal skull. You pissed on the fact that it was real, or that the idea.
You were
of
referring to the original, the first one that was found. I guess.
Right. I'm talking about the Mitchell Hedges. I think
there's a lot of controversy behind the Mitchell Hedges. Find.
That's the one that was found. Yeah, that's the one that was found by his daughter.
Right.
And didn't they like lower her down into the hole or something?
Right, she's the only one who went down in there, and I mean, a lot of people think it was planted there and stuff like that. I don't know.
Well, if it wasn't, let's say it wasn't. Let's just say, Steve, that the crystal skull was not planted. How the fuck was that thing made?
I don't know. It's still
back. And then we have to still say beyond that it was not planted there before then,
right,
by somebody else, and that it actually came from the time period before.
Well, even if it was manufactured when they found it, prior to that, I mean, it was still a remarkable piece of craftsmanship.
There's like no scratch marks on that thing anywhere, is there?
Right. I know it's been examined. Originally, it was examined by Kodak because that was, the only people who could examine something like that at the time, I guess. And they couldn't find any fractures or even hairline fractures or tool marks or anything on it, I guess.
Huh.
So it's made out of what, quartz?
Yeah, it's clear quartz.
And there's a lot of clear quartz in the area that they found it. So, I mean, is it possible that there was some sort of ancient civilization that did that? I suppose there is,
Yeah, I always like this, and not the Indiana Jones fucking debacle of a movie that was made. But I like the Crystal Skull. I mean, I read about it years ago. I knew about it back when I was younger. And I've always been a fan of like quartz crystal balls and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I have a crystal ball. I have obsidian crystal balls, but I find the crystal skulls to be pretty interesting. Not the skulls plural. The first one I find to be pretty cool. There's some subsequent ones that are just basically bullshit, I think, for the most part.
Probably most, if not all of them, I would say, that have been found since.
People just jumping on that fucking bandwagon.
Well, yeah, because you have to have so many, and they have to be in certain places on Earth at a certain time, and when they're all aligned together, the end of the world or something comes, I guess.
Right.
That's how that's supposed to go. I don't know where that all came from, but I haven't looked into crystal skulls enough to know the whole story. But I guess it's, that's how it goes.
They bring them all together, and you have the power of Satan. I don't fucking know.
But it is intriguing that, it was even possible. Now, I don't know whether, what would you say his name is, Mitchell Hedges, had the ability to even get something like that manufactured at that time. But, like I said, there is still a lot of controversy behind how it was found and, that kind of thing. So,
yeah, I don't know. It at one time, it really, held me in awe. And it's a neat little piece. I mean, hell, I'd love to have that little fucker. Little quartz crystal skull.
It would be pretty cool.
I'd carry it around all day and be like, fucking poor Uric, I knew him well.
Uric? That must be a movie reference that I have no clue.
It's fucking about. Shakespeare, you fucking asshat.
Well, okay. Do you think I read Shakespeare?
Oh, God.
Come on now.
Oh, fuck.
Romeo. That's the only thing I know.
Fucking Hamlet.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I have no idea.
All right. Yeah.
The only play I've ever been to in my life is fucking Little Shop of Horrors. I don't know Shakespeare, Chris.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't personally know him. I've read some of his work.
Shakespeare was actually, I mean, I know a lot about Shakespeare, and he was a pretty amazing guy. But anyway, that's off topic.
Completely.
Yeah.
But this kind of, the crystal skull thing and your whole idea of, whether or not it's the real deal or if it was placed or not kind of goes into what we were going to talk about next.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the tools and the screws that they've found in rocks, ancient rocks.
Right.
Now, my thing with this is, like, how do we know? How do we know it wasn't put there? That's my problem. Are we finding, like, solid rocks? Is this being documented? Are these things being cracked open and inside is a hammer? I mean, it's not a fucking craftsman hammer, Steve. It's not like, I went to Sears and picked up a fucking nice claw craftsman hammer. It's a piece of shit.
Well, it would have been good for the time. It looks like maybe a medieval type hammer or something, that one hammer one. They call it the London hammer. and it's in solid rock. It looks like, but could that be hoaxed? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. And I was looking at like the screws in the rocks.
The reference that I have here says it's 100 million-year-old rock, according to geologists, but they don't say who the geologists are from. And then it goes on, and I got to read that line. I read the year earlier. It says, there is no other, if our school teachings are correct, there is no other conclusion than that an alien visiting Earth must have lost the hammer. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because aliens would have made, if they were coming to Earth, would have made a piece of shit hammer like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was probably a top of the line hammer in the day, but
coming off of an alien spaceship? No, I don't think so.
No, well, no. Things that like that are intriguing though, because how did they get into the rock in the first place? I mean, it would be
like I said. Then we have to go back to: was this thing found in a solid piece of rock that was split open, or was it open already and just there? Because the hammer, if you look at it, it's kind of like looks like it was kind of set into that spot almost.
Or the rock formed around it.
Correct. Or the rock formed around it. Correct.
Or they found a rock that just happened to be in the same shape of this hammer and threw it in there.
And just so everybody knows, I'll throw the links to the websites where we found the information on this stuff below the video. So if you want to check out any of the pictures of this stuff, you can for yourself. But
this does go back to, was there a previous civilization that came and went? And would they have used tools of that nature? Well, they probably would have had hammers of some sort.
Yeah, and I'd heard one thing, or had read one. I can't find it right now, but the vase that was in the rock too.
I didn't see that one.
That was another one, but I didn't see any picture of the vase actually in the rock.
Yeah.
So that's why I say it goes back to what you were saying about the crystal skull. Is it bullshit? Are these bullshit? Are these real things? If it's found in a solid piece of rock, that's fucking dug out of the ground, that's been fucking sitting there for however many millions of fucking years, and they cracked that son of a bitch open, and there's a hammer in there. I mean, I'd like it if it was like a Craftsman, or if it said like, some weird logo on the side. But,
Right, I agree, but it's hard to say. I want to say that some of these are real and some of them may not be. I'd love to believe that some of these are real. It would be awesome.
Be pretty cool.
I mean, I'm a firm believer that most of the history that we're taught about, how civilization came into being and all that is probably not right anyhow.
Oh, I think the timelines are way off.
Right, and who's to say that there wasn't an advanced race of human or Neanderthal or whatever?
And you have people from ancient times that talked about that. They talked about civilizations of great power that were technologically advanced. They talked about Atlantis. Yeah.
Right.
For fucking forever. What was it? Plato talked about Atlantis.
No, was it just a story? We don't know, but they knew things that they probably shouldn't have known at the time. As far as how they were relaying these stories of things that happened allegedly thousands or millions of years before that.
Right.
and things that are coming true now that happen now. So could there have been, and some remnants of it still existed when these people were talking about it? Sure.
Yeah. And that'll bring us, I guess, around to the next one that we wanted to take a look at, which you and I both kind of really like. And that's the Who Shot the Neanderthal Man.
That one's cool, man.
Okay, so there's this Paleolithic skull dated at around 38,000 years old. And it was excavated in 1921 in modern Zambia. And on one side of the skull was found a perfectly round hole, about 1/3 of an inch in diameter. And there's no, like, crack lines in the skull or anything around that hole. And then on the other side of the skull, it's just blown apart from the inside out.
Right. And it says, in this article here that forensic experts who have examined the skull agree that the cranial damage could not have been caused by anything but a high-speed projectile purposely fired at the victim. So now, they don't say who the...
What if it was a meteorite that just happened to make it all the way at about that size?
I guess that's a possibility. I think that's even more of a stretch than saying somebody with a gunshot in the Neanderthal, but whatever. This one...
Are you saying that Occam's razor says that a meteorite couldn't have hit is less likely to have hit the Neanderthal than a fucking bullet?
I'm saying that Occam's razor thinks you're crazy right now for even coming up with that shit. I don't know. This one is intriguing, but again, they don't say who the forensics experts are in this article that we found. But it's at the Museum of Natural History in London, so it's actually something you can go see, and it would be really cool to go see that.
Yeah.
And look at it yourself. Of course, we're not forensics experts, so it might look like a gunshot to us when it could be just, he fell on a stake or something, and we don't know. But this one I really like.
Yeah, this is pretty interesting. If we weren't there, we didn't fucking excavate the damn thing.
Right.
But if all the facts are correct, really cool.
Of course, this website is kind of pointing towards the ancient alien or advanced civilization.
See, I like the advanced civilization idea way better than the ancient alien theory. I think that it is very possible that a civilization rose and fell. I mean, look at what happened with the dinosaurs. The dinosaurs ruled the earth for fucking millions and millions and millions of years, and then boom, gone.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, it's completely possible, but I think that, now I'm not in one of those ancient alien people, I don't know, but there's a lot of evidence that could point towards that, but it all depends on interpretation,
Everything's fucking interpretation when it comes to this shit.
Everybody had gods that came from the sky. Every civilization had that. Every religion has that. So where did that all come from? But now that could also go back to the advanced ancient civilization that died off, because maybe they had airplanes, or maybe they had things that were in the sky, and the next version of man came along, maybe that overlapped a little bit, and so that's where we get our God stories. I don't know.
It's completely possible.
Right.
I buy that. I buy that way more than a lot of the other bullshit.
Because, I know we weren't going to talk about it, but they found those, little statue things that look like airplanes and shit. And they find them all over the world, different places.
Right, and there's like, what is it, I can't fucking pronounce it, that Indian fucking book, the Bhagavad Gita, or whatever the fuck it's called.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm fucking Steve Alcorn tonight. If I bothered to look the fucking thing up. I know what I'm talking about, but right. Where they talk about, like the sky battles, and this fucking book's from is pretty ancient, and there's like descriptions of like flying machines and this goddamn thing. So maybe there was some amazing civilization long before us, and it just fucking didn't make it.
I haven't actually read it yet, but just hearing references to it, the Epic of Gilgamesh and all the things that they describe, it was ancient. That's
imagine if a fucking plague wiped out the fucking world, and there was just a few people left, and people are having kids, and they're telling their kids stories about what happened fucking before. Over time, it's like fucking playing telephone. You pass the fucking story on, and it fucking changes. You never know, and that's a complete possibility. That just they were telling them the stories of what happened before, and it just changed over time to become it was gods, and it was this fucking 6-armed dude, and he fucking flew a spaceship, and it was really
God Boy.
God Boy. We harken back to God Boy. He flew in a spaceship. God boy.
I have to say, I re-listened to that show. You got to the God boy part, man. This is fucking just rolling on the floor. I don't, for our loyal
He
listeners.
shot Neanderthals. God boy.
For our loyal listeners, I tend not to listen to these shows because I don't like to hear my own voice, but I went back and listened to that one for some reason, and he got the God boy, and I lost it, man. I mean, we're picking on a poor, deformed child, but God boy.
Hey, and I think somebody fucking bitched today saying that, we weren't funny and we only make ourselves laugh. Yeah, so what? I don't give a shit. If I'm fucking laughing, what the fuck do I care?
Yep. Well, we've known each other for a while, and we've always, had that kind of, my weird, dry sense of humor, and your fucking way out there, dark stuff, and it kind of just always meshed, and so we always found ourselves funny, but I don't think too many other people always did,
Hey, fuck
that kind of thing. So, and then, hey, whatever.
Yeah, that's what I say. Fuck them. So, who shot the Neanderthal? Was it a fucking meteorite? Who knows? Here's the other thing that I actually wanted to bring up about this. It is kind of possible that something under high pressure could have broke loose somewhere. He could have been near something.
Yeah.
Or he or she. Was it a he? Is it a he? Is it
a she? I don't think it said.
It doesn't say. But, is that a possibility?
How, though? I mean, what would have that much natural pressure unless it was near maybe a hurricane or a tornado, I guess. Something like that could do it.
Yeah, something
I would suspect it. It says high-speed projectile, but it doesn't say, how many feet per second.
What about a slingshot?
Like I don't think a slingshot could do it.
What if it was fired by a giant?
I suppose if a stone was picked up in, let's say, a tornado, and it just happened to have the right shape and everything, and flew at whatever speed, but I don't know if it could blow the other side of the skull out like that. So I don't know.
I don't know either. I'm asking the question. I don't know. I have no fucking idea. I'm
sure you've seen footage of 2x4s going through brick walls from a tornado or whatever. So, I suppose that is possible. They leave a clean hole on one side. I don't know what they do to the other.
Yeah, I don't know what it could have been. But it does seem really fucking cool. Like if a fucking Neanderthal was shot with a gun, like I want to know about this shit.
Right, me too.
I totally want to know. That one
I think I'm going to look farther into because that one I really do like that one. So
yeah, well, it's right up your alley.
So. Yeah, Neanderthal men.
You're totally into Neanderthal men. Yeah, yeah, we know that. And the last thing that we wanted to bring up was, and I don't know how to pronounce this one, Steve. This is another you moment.
Is this the pillar?
Yeah, the Ashoka pillar, or I don't know, Ashoka.
I think it's Ashoka or Ashoka.
In India, and this thing is a solid wrought iron shaft made of welded discs. And
expertly welded.
And I guess it supposedly has an inscription at the base, an epitaph to King Chandragupta the second.
Gupta.
Not Sanjay, Chandra, who died in AD 413. And this thing's pretty fucking interesting. It's despite being over, was it a millennium? I'm reading off the website.
1600
and a half
years.
in age. It's remarkably preserved.
Well, the thing's iron.
Yeah.
But they said the surface is polished almost like brass, and almost no pock marks or weathering. There is some, but it's been around allegedly for 1600 years. And if it's iron, it should have, rusted away a long time ago. Or at least show signs of rusting away, but it isn't.
Yeah,
I see
all this
the
stuff
picture
too. And this is off topic, but I just thought about this, and I didn't bring this up to you before the show. You were aware of those, and I saw this on fucking Ancient Aliens, and I'm not a fucking huge Ancient Aliens fan, but the stones that were carved there, I can't remember where they're at though. They have those incredibly intricate inset carve, their angles, and I can't think of where the fucking stones are though. Yeah, fuck you, asshole.
So off topic, you don't know what the hell you're talking about.
But yeah, it's fucking somebody.
These stones, they get these shapes.
Yeah, there's fucking stones in there. They're somewhere, and they were on Ancient Aliens. And go fuck myself. Jesus Christ.
I didn't see that episode.
Fucking A. God almighty. Somebody just kicked me in the fucking head, for Christ's sake. Someone on the show will fucking post, like, what the fuck I'm talking about. You know that, right?
You're having an Alcorn moment, man.
Fucking tonight I am. Holy shit. It's been a hell of a day. Let me just say, I got very little sleep today. It's been a hell of a week. Ugh. But yeah,
you did have some turkey.
I did have some turkey.
That's all good.
But the Ashoka pillar, stuff, and all this stuff that shouldn't be there, or what did you call it? Out of time or out of place objects?
Out of place. Yeah, Ivan T. Sanderson. He was mostly known for cryptozoology, but he got into some other stuff too. Mostly Bigfoot stuff is what he was into. But he's the one who coined that term, out-of-time artifacts. So, yeah, pretty cool.
So, is John Titor an out-of-time artifact?
Nobody wants the computer now because it's the only one that can do...
It's the only thing that can tell him where the stars will be.
It has certain algorithms that he needs. But anyway, I was looking at the picture of this pillar, the Ashoka pillar, and it's made out of wrought iron, allegedly, and they have a wrought iron fence around the damn thing. And that wrought iron fence is all fucking rusty.
Yeah.
And the wrought iron fence that they have around it is newer.
Probably.
So, I mean, just looking at something newer as compared to something that's been around for supposedly 1,600 years.
But see, that's the thing. We have to go back to that, Steve. That whole thing of, we have to say, okay, is it that old? Is it fact?
Sometimes...
A lot of this stuff that we've brought up tonight could be fucking fairly blown apart by
let's say
anybody with half a brain.
Right, like the Ashoka pillar, though, there's got to be references to it. It's something that's permanent. It's standing there. I mean, it's somebody's seen it 1,000 years ago, if it was there. So I'm sure if it was there were references to it somewhere, and that would prove that it actually is as old as they say it is. But now something like a hammer and a rock that we happen to dig up out of the ground, that kind of thing, we don't know.
Now, if they split open a rock and found a cordless drill,
yeah, that would be
fucking blow my mind.
How do we know some artists?
If they broke open a rock from like 100 million years ago and there was a DeWalt symbol on the side.
It's a DeWalt symbol, but it's like a really old DeWalt. The old, how the logos change over
yeah, how they change over time.
A really old DeWalt symbol.
Fucking, or like they crack open the rock and there's just like this plaque that says Rockefeller.
Well, I wanted to talk about one object that was found actually found around here where I live. Back in the 1800s, they were digging probably for railroads or something around here, and they actually, now I haven't proven it because it doesn't exist anymore, or whoever had it, some guy named Olmsted was a professor back then. But anyway, it was an ancient bead, and they said it looked like a Kalora bead, which is
anal bead?
Egyptian. calora, not colonic.
You know, if you stick those up a girl's ass and then pull them out while you... Go on.
But anyway, so they found this bead, and then they sent it supposedly to some guy. I think his last name.
I hope they washed their hands after they handled that fucking thing.
Well, it was buried. You know, they were. We also had mammoth bones and things like that found around here, and old giant skeletons, allegedly. All this stuff is allegedly, and I read it in a book that dates back to 1883. It's a history of the local area, you know. So they found this bead, and it was an ancient Egyptian bead. Well, how did it get here, you know? So that was one of those out of place or out of time artifacts. And it was local to me, so I thought that was pretty cool when I read that.
Yeah, and weren't you saying that there was like a fucking penny found in Maine?
Oh, in Maine, yeah. They found a penny. I lost the link because I didn't think we were going to talk about it. Oh, it was on that Wikipedia one that I sent you, if you still have that up.
No, I don't.
Okay, anyway, so they found a penny in Maine that dated to the 11th century, and it was right amongst, and at the same level, you know, when they did the archaeological dig, as all the Indian artifacts of that time. So they believe that maybe the Vikings or something were doing trading with the Indians, and that was the only thing that wasn't an Indian artifact, you know, an American Indian, a Native American artifact that was found at that site. So a penny or a coin from the 11th century, which is pretty cool.
And fuck you, Alcorn, it's Puma Punku.
Puma, oh, why didn't you just say Puma Punku?
See,
I know, I've seen that episode.
Dude, I'm high half the time when we do this show.
Puma Punku's that place is pretty cool.
That's but that's what I was referring to. Those intricately.
That's the one where all the squares and shit are cut out.
Right. And it's all like, and stuff like fits together like perfectly. To like, tolerances. Yeah, it's like the tolerances on this shit is like crazy. It's like,
yeah, I don't know how they could accomplish it back then. I mean, a lot of people even think that about the pyramids and shit like that, but this is something that's really, you know, shouldn't be. Those people shouldn't have been quite that advanced at that time, because even today we don't really have the machinery that could do it that good. So
it can be done, but really cool. I think they had said, they'd asked some guy. They said, "Can it be done?" And he said, "Yeah." I'm pretty sure when I'd seen this guy interviewed, he said, "Yeah, but I wouldn't want to do it."
No, I mean, just the not the technology, but the time involved and the machinery and the cost. And so how did they do it with, you know, hammers and chisels basically back then?
Yeah, it's all some crazy shit. Just crazy shit. And like you're saying,
that's one place I'd like to go in my lifetime. That would be a great place to go.
If I were to pick a place to go see like ancient shit,
Stonehenge maybe. Easter Island would be cool.
I'd be really torn. I think I'd go pyramids. I seriously think I'd go pyramids. I don't know why, but I think I'd go pyramids.
Well, you know, Eric von Daniken thinks that the pyramids were like a giant battery or something.
Oh, Eric von Daniken.
I don't know what he thinks.
Jesus Christ. Don't bring up von Daniken. Fucking Bob will have a field day. Like, he sat up one night. He sat up one night and fucking ripped apart von Daniken for like 3 hours.
Bob should do a YouTube video on von Daniken.
I'm pretty sure he has.
I know he's done it on another gentleman.
I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong. But hey.
But no, I wasn't sure if he's done a Von Daniken.
I don't know how many times I've told our listeners that if you don't think listening to this show is going to give you fucking homework, we don't fucking know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know shit.
We just get on here and talk about shit. That's it.
We enjoy the subjects, but I don't think anybody thinks we're experts on anything, of course.
Yeah, if you consider me an
expert. I am.
If you consider me an expert. No, you're a fucking What is it that you're called? A fucking investigative reporter?
I don't know who came up with that originally. Oh, actually, I came up with it originally.
Yeah, fucking good jackass.
It sounded better than...
Yeah, go be an investigative reporter like your father.
It sounded better than what everybody else called me. Now I got to do news. Is that what that was for?
Sure.
Because now all my frickin' articles are closed. Hold on a second.
Well,
if
you were a seasoned professional broadcaster, that wouldn't happen.
I'm not a seasoned professional broadcaster. I'm a seasoned professional investigative reporter.
All of our shows are like the Casey Kasem outtakes.
You have to give me a second. I got to get one more article.
Every time I have to go into a goddamn death dedication.
Oh, I never opened that article. That's why. Okay, so our first story tonight from news.co.cr. UFOs may visit the Turrialba volcano in Costa Rica. A renowned ufologist and researcher of paranormal activity has determined that the ongoing eruption of the Turrialba volcano presents an ideal opportunity for sightings of unidentified flying objects.
Okay, what jackass is a fucking expert that says this?
Sixto Paz is the guy's name.
Sixto
yes.
Paz. I often go to Sixto Paz.
Sixto Paz Wells.
Oh,
I've never heard of Sixto Paz Wells, but I'm guessing.
Oh, he's a fucking expert.
What they say he is. He's a Peruvian UFO researcher. He's written dozens of books on topics that transcend the space-time continuum that most of us strive to understand. Mr. Paz was recently in Costa Rica to deliver lectures on several esoteric topics, and he was interviewed by several news media outlets.
I've done a bunch of science minutes. That makes me a fucking scientist.
It makes you an expert on minutes.
Yeah, I'm an expert on minutes.
That's it. When daily tabloid La Teja, I think that's how you pronounce it, asked Mr. Paz for his opinion on the volcanic activity, he explained, UFOs tend to fly near places where there is significant seismic and volcanic activity. It seems as if they have some technology that allows them to absorb energy, so the volcano is like a fueling station, apparently. The eruption activity at the Turrialba has not ceased. In fact, the national park surrounding communities on the outskirts of the volcano are still under yellow alert.
Jerry, we got to pull the UFO over by the volcano because we got to fill up.
Oh, Mr. Paz stated that he would not be surprised if UFO sightings are reported in Costa Rica in the next few days. It is important to remember that Mr. Paz claims to be a contactee. As a person who's had some sort of contact with intelligent beings from celestial bodies beyond our atmosphere.
Jerry, can you pop the fuel door for me?
I got to get into the race of people that Mr. Paz claims to have contact with.
What the fuck did you pick up for a story?
Listen, Mr. Paz has had
Mr. Paz? Does his fucking head come off and candy come out?
P-A-Z. P-A-Z, not P-E-Z. God. Anyway, Mr. Paz has had contact with, quote...
Mr. Pez has had contact with many children.
Quote, a race of Mongolian-looking humans originally from the Orion constellation who have established a large base on Jupiter, one of Jupiter's moons.
Yeah, he's had dealings with Mongoloids.
His brother Carlos have had a number of contact experiences after he first established telepathic communication with the extraterrestrials in 1974. They were quickly followed by a number of UFOs.
What the fuck, dude? Just stop. No.
I'm sorry. It's just...
This story is so fucking wrong.
It's a real story.
No, it's not.
It is a real story from a real website.
Yeah, it's a real website. All right, it's full of shit.
Anyway. So he, anyway, they were followed by a number of UFO sightings and physical contact with said extraterrestrials in the desert of Chilca, Peru.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry I broke down during that one. So, from our next news source, mysteriousuniverse.org. A mysterious CIA sculpture remains untranslated. When Jim Sanborn unveiled his multimedia Kryptos sculpture in front of the CIA building in 1991, it attracted considerable media attention in the United States. Most of that attention centered on two annoying early 90s media cliches. G, this thing is the government purchaser is expensive, and G, this is a piece of contemporary art that is
G
sure
and
abstract.
G?
That's what they put in the article. I'm just reading it.
Oh, all right.
But some of that coverage dug a little deeper to ask what the code in the sculpture actually meant. A much more interesting question, but one that met with decidedly limited success. In 1999, cryptographer and chess programmer... never mind. Cryptographer and chess programmer Chris Gilligley publicly announced that he had decoded nearly all of the encrypted text on the front of the monument. It reads as follows. Between subtle shading and the absence of light lies a nuance of illusion, and it goes on. But there remains... I'm not going to read all that. There remains a shorter fourth section on the larger part of the monument. Sanborn has recently given cryptographers an important clue that the text includes the phrase Berlin clock, and this may suggest that the unusual design of the Berlin clock may in some way resemble the particular sequence involved in the Section 4's encryption. Though the question of why an encrypted phrase would provide a hint as to its own decipheration is a fair one.
Spit it out, son.
I think it's actually, I
say you're a newsman, son.
I wanted to say decipheration, but it's actually decryption. I don't know how I got decipheration out of that. If you'd like to take a crack at Section 4 yourself, be sure to look at Gilligley's notes on the first three sections and check out the Kryptos Beyond K4 blog for the latest Kryptos fan community's efforts to translate the rest of the sculpture.
And nobody really gave a shit.
I don't think so. And on our final story, and my favorite of the night, and I haven't even looked at it yet, but I like the headline. From viralglobalnews.com, human waste matter can be used to create rocket fuel and breathing systems.
Jerry, stick your asshole over the fuel.
University of Florida researchers have devised a technique that turns human waste into rocket fuel. While the team say the process could make use of something that typically burns up during re-entry, they also believe it could have applications right here on Earth. It could be used on campus or around town or anywhere to convert waste into fuel, explained, oh my God, Pratap Pullamanamanappally. Here's how you spell this name. Pullamanapallil. An associate professor of agriculture and biological engineering at the University of Florida. I think I actually pronounced it correctly, too. NASA started plans to create an inhabitable facility on the moon between 2019 and 2024. In preparing for this ambitious endeavor, the space agency wanted to find ways of disposing of human effluent, shit, along with other waste products to reduce the weight of returning spacecraft. Simply leaving their waste matter on the moon was not a viable option.
Now we're going to burn it like the Indians on the plains.
So NASA asked the University of Florida to come up with some ideas. Working alongside graduate student Abhishek Doble.
Sure.
Pullamanapallil. That's how I'm trying to... Pullamanapallil.
Pull a man on the pillow? Is that what you want to do?
That's not what I want to do. He said about trying to determine the amount of methane released from... Did you look at the story before you sent it to me and see that name in there and say, hey, this is a good one?
No.
Because, holy fuck.
You think I fucking sit around and, like, look at the stories and go, yeah. No, I just see...
You'll never pronounce that.
Yeah, I don't take that much fucking time and effort into this shit.
But yet, every time you give me an article, it has a name like 6 miles long that I don't even think the guy himself knows how to pronounce.
He's turning shit into fuel.
Maybe. The study entitled Design and Operation of an Anaerobic Digester for Waste Management and Fuel Generation During Long-Term Lunar Mission was published in Journal Advances in Space Research. And that is the news.
Wow. That's
a long title. Design and operation of an anaerobic digester for waste management and fuel generation during long-term lunar mission.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that we were not at our best tonight on the news.
Last time I You know, on the side of this article, there's an ad for Parrot mini drones, and there's one called the Jumping Sumo.
Jumping Sumo?
Yeah, it's actually not a flying drone. It's got a camera in the front and can jump and shit. It's really cool.
Hey, I'm with you. I'm totally with you.
The flying one, the quadcopter one, is really cool. It's only $100.
This has been, and I finally looked, episode 58 of the Fortean Slip. Someone called John Titor. We've got a new computer or some fucking shit. I don't remember what the fuck I said.
A lot of stuff.
If you like this shit, hit the like button, even though we suck tonight. Subscribe.
We didn't suck tonight.
Say hi. Steve doesn't know when to shut his fucking mouth.